From UBN Studios, you're listening to Unsugarcoated with Aalia, bringing you interviews with public figures and inspirational people speaking on self-improvement with empowering themes. And I'm your host, Aalia Lanius. Hello and welcome back to another episode of your favorite social good podcast. We are so happy to be here with you and continuing the conversation about trusting the process, right? As we've discussed, it's not always easy, but it's certainly critical in accomplishing whatever it is that you are setting out to do. And, you know, we're all a bunch of go-getters and people who have such amazing potential. I love when I can come across somebody who's able to share their inspirational story, right? Here, the show itself is intended to feature both public figures and inspirational, stories and individuals that are doing incredible things around the world. And I am very grateful when I meet them. And I know I see this little spark. I see this, not a little spark, excuse me. Some people I see a little spark, and then some people I see this huge shine. And so today's guest is definitely one of those. But before I bring her on, I want to kind of bring up something that we're going to talk a bit about today, which is gratitude. Okay. Gratitude is something that I really actually learned through being Muslim, I would say, or at least such a strong sense about it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because being a Muslim introduced me more, well, not being Muslim, that's not actually correct. But regardless, let me finish my thought. So I'm Muslim and being multicultural. One leg of my existence is my Middle Eastern family, right? And so I'm plenty familiar with inshallah, alhamdulillah, not from the song, but because of like life and culture. And it actually is one of the most beautiful things that represent Middle Eastern culture in general. Because, by the way, I want to make sure people understand these words. Like, so alhamdulillah means thanks to God. Inshallah means by God's will. And I'm not talking about a stone God. I'm speaking of the God, the Judeo-Christian, at least when they're saying it in Arab culture, this is what you mean. This is what you're saying. And so, for example, inshallah, it means God willing. And an example, I just applied to a new job. I'm talking to a circle of maybe my friends and family. And so I'm telling them, I just applied for a new job. Inshallah, I get it. And, what's interesting as part of cultural experiences is that everyone else around you is supposed to say, inshallah, because they're reaffirming this belief for you, with you, right? And in a sense of hope and positivity. So there's another word, actually, mashallah, which I didn't say, which is really cool because it speaks to, like, let's say you got the job, right? So you got the job, you come home and I'm like, I'm so happy I got the job. So then that person is like, mashallah, which means, from God, this came, essentially. And what it also is intended to do is break any negative energy. So I'm your friend and I'm very happy you got this new job. But you know what? I've been wanting a new job. I've been wanting it. And I didn't get it. But instead of being negative, I'm going to be grateful for you. I'm going to be happy for you. And I'm going to say, mashallah. If I'm unintentionally bringing any negative energy to this, then hopefully by this, I'm actually breaking that. That's pretty incredible, right? But one of my favorites is alhamdulillah. And it's because alhamdulillah, which means, thanks to God, as I said before, it isn't just for when things are great. It's actually also for when things are wrong. So another example, let's pretend I've lost that job and I'm seeing you in the street. And then you say, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, man, and in my head, I'm like, I'm having a pretty shitty day. I just got fired. I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. Don't know how I'm going to do this, but you know what? I'm going to look at you. I'm going to say, alhamdulillah. Why? Because I still have breath in my body. Why? Because life is not ending as I know it. I'm being met with a challenge, but I can overcome this because it's not just me alone, right? We have this belief in the existence of our energy, of a positivity, of our faith in the unknown, as we like to say. And so to me, alhamdulillah is such a representation of positivity, and culturally it speaks to it. It's a reminder. It's a constant reminder for me when somebody's like, how are you? And my first response, now, even if I'm like, you know what, that's the thing. I've had conversations where somebody has been like, how's it going? I'm like, alhamdulillah. And then they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? A lot of stuff is going wrong right now. They're like, and they're puzzled but you just said alhamdulillah. But of course, because we don't give up around here, right? And of course, I'm going to stay positive through the negativity that I'm facing. So it's something that I wanted to share today, because in the context and having the conversation about gratitude, we need to remember that it's best and it's very, very important for us to have gratitude when we kind of feel like there's nothing really to be thankful for, because we always have something to be grateful for, right? And it can always be worse. And that doesn't mean that right now is that great, but it can always be worse. And so I just, I love that. And honestly, on top of it, those are the places we grow, right? We don't win all the time, but it's always those moments where you grow, you take advantage of learning from what you've gone through that experience, and you have the opportunity to come back stronger, better than before. So my point is to never let the challenges stop you from being grateful. Never let them actually impede your ability to move forward. And whether you use these words or not, show gratitude in your life. How are you showing gratitude in your life? Because it matters. So, so going back to today's gift, I actually had met our guest when I was in Venice. We'll show the pictures later when she's on, but I was at the Venice Film Festival. Some of you may remember my husband was actually executive producer for a film called The Card Counter, featuring Oscar Isaac, Tiffany Haddish, and I'd shared on my social media that I was there. Here on the show, we've talked about it. But there, I met this beautiful woman, and I found her heart and spirit so beautiful. And when we had a chance to see each other again in Los Angeles recently, I was like, oh girl, you got to come onto the show and talk about the challenges that you've been facing and how you show up representing yourself, representing your culture, and continue to do incredible things. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on. Adrienne Lau is a multi-talented actress, singer, and TV personality. Her single, Wanna Be Happy, debuted on the U.S. pop Billboard charts at number 14, making her the first Chinese American to hit the U.S. pop Billboard chart. Her hot single, Magic Tricks, hit number 7, just under Justin Timberlake, and above her idol Madonna. Adrienne is also an actress. She co-executive produced the movie Card Counter. She is coming up in the TV series The X-Pact, starring Nicole Kidman, directed by Lulu Wang on Netflix. Adrienne is the superfan ambassador for Hong Kong Tourism Board and has had her own TV show in Hong Kong. She's collaborated with Vitamin Water and is the international spokesmodel for Vigos Jeans, the title sponsor for America's Next Top Model. She is also the star of the reality series A Life of a Pop Star, and you can find her gracing red carpets around the world and on projects with a current crop of industry movers and shakers. Ladies and gentlemen, here to talk having faith in the unknown and practicing gratitude along the way, please welcome Miss Adrienne Lau.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here too as well. So listen, first of all, I think now we can share the photos. We had such a great time in Venice. You were there. It was your film. Yep, there's Joseph, my husband. Your dress was stunning, walking the red carpet, of course, just a beautiful, bright flower. Yeah. There we have it, yes. And what was that like for you?
It was awesome because my experience, I've always been a singer and a TV, and then this is my first I guess like before that I spent all my time touring. I spent a lot of time like you have to go to a lot of interviews, and then you have to do a lot of TV shows. I was in the process of shooting a TV show in Hong Kong as well. So that time, and it was during the pandemic, so we had no one could leave Hong Kong, just letting we're still in lockdown right now, so there was nobody leaving Hong Kong. But I thought, the film, got such good reviews and we got into the Venice Film Festival. I have to go. And I was also at the same time shooting a TV show for Hong Kong TV as well while in Venice. So nobody really could leave, like the crew, and nobody could leave. So I was like, I have to come because our movie's premiering, right? We will meet you guys again with the director, Paul Schrader, and Oscar and Tiffany Haddish was there as well. So I was like, I had to go. But so it was like very hard, just to leave Hong Kong and I had to shoot a show also. I had to basically trust, like the whole topic is like about trusting the process. They're like, are you sure you wanted to go? Because like, you don't know if you come back into Hong Kong. Yeah, I'm like,
Right.
well, yeah. And then, so I had to find my crew there to shoot the TV show. I had to go there by myself because normally when you go on trips, you will bring, your camera person, your director, or whatever. There's
Right.
nobody that can go with me, literally. Because, in order, to go into, you have to have the right visas. I hold an American passport. That's why it's a bit easier for me. But for other people, it might not be as easy,
Right.
for them. So I had to go by myself. I had to find my own director there. I had to find, makeup, hair, everything. I had to do everything on my own. I have to, basically find all the locations. I do everything on my own. Lighting. I have to find the lighting person
Right.
there. So it's kind of crazy, but still, but walking the red carpet for the Venice Film Festival is so exciting because that was my, because I always before, like I said, I always, was doing the music events, like, the Grammys, my first time, getting involved in a Hollywood, main production. So it was a unforgettable experience, and we got to go to other premieres. We went to another event like MFAR, so it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I remember when we were going out to the red carpet, you were very excited because they recognized that you were like the only Asian actress there at that moment. Like they all were so excited for what you represented in that
Right,
moment. How did
right.
that feel for you personally?
I felt awesome because but prior to coming in, I already had a lot of like reporters from Asia saying that, oh, we knew that you're going to be going, so they were all like asked, well, okay, we're all excited for you to be on the carpet, right? But I didn't know if you remember that was like this one crazy thing that happened before. They were like, because of do you remember? Because of some COVID restrictions, because during that time when we went, it was like, it was like crazy, right? So they were like, due to some COVID restrictions, we're only allowing 5 person on the carpet,
Right.
which is the director, I guess
main
Oscar,
cast.
Tiffany, T. Sheridan, I guess another producer or something. We're only allowing an X amount of people. I'm like, oh my goodness,
Right.
what am I gonna do? So but like of course, like I brought everything over. A lot of people was waiting for me to be on the carpet. So I was just like, I was talking to you. I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. But I was like trusting the process. Like I was a bit panicking also because I was like, oh, really? This, if they really don't allow because of this COVID restrictions, there's
Right.
not really nothing we can do. But in the end, we trusted the process. A lot of people actually there was trying to help me. They were like, oh, they were trying to help me to get on and do everything, prep me to go. So at the end, it all turned out to be a very good experience. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, actually, I know exactly. I remember, it's kind of funny. My husband was like, of course, we'd all flown all the way out there. And there
Yeah.
was like night before, they're like, so we don't know if we can get you guys all tickets because they started reducing the tickets. And then I don't know if you were on the email chain. I'm sure you were when they just kind of sent all kinds of tickets. And we're all like, well, what if it gets scanned first? So it was kind of, we trusted the process.
Yeah.
But I remember looking at my husband and he's like, oh my gosh, what if? And I was like, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
See us sitting in the chairs. You know that we have not come all this way.
Right.
Like it's so much about like I told my husband, it is not a matter of who's letting me in. It's more a matter of who is keeping me out.
Right.
So like, and I know, and I think that to your point that I remember when we were sitting there in the chairs, one space apart because they made everyone spaced out. I was like, we're here, aren't we? And he was like, you're right.
I
There you
know.
go.
And I was glad that you were there with me because like, everybody was like, because it was like especially with these kind of big events, like, you really don't know, like, what the restrictions. And honestly, for me to even leave Hong Kong, go back to Hong Kong, I have to have a 14 days quarantine whenever I go back. So it's a big, it's so hard for me to even get there. I was like, oh, please, but we trusted the process. But I guess throughout my whole life of like, this whole career, because I guess the whole thing has to trust the process because initially I really wanted to be what I wanted to be. I wanted myself to be an actor first. But, and then so I actually went to UCLA. I studied acting,
Right. Yes. You not
Yeah.
only went to UCLA, but also, born in Hong Kong, you're educated in the United States. You are multilingual. You
Yeah.
speak English, Mandarin, Cantonese. You graduated from UCLA with a double major degree in communications and sociology.
Yes.
So, yeah, my question was, what caused you to pursue the arts?
Exactly. Well, I've always known that I wanted to become an actor. I feel like, being an actor, you can play different roles, you get to experience different, like I guess live a different life, other than your own, because, like when you're in acting, you're living truthfully under, that's what my acting school taught me, like living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. You're actually living another life being an actor. So I've always wanted to do that. But it's so funny, when I graduated from UCLA, I was actually in a movie first. But then I guess the producer really liked me. They introduced me to the record label, and I got signed right away as a singer. And ever since that, of course, like I was very grateful because the record label gave me a lot of opportunities. They had me work with Beyonce's producer, Christina Aguilera's producers and stuff. So I get to work with a lot of cool people. And shortly thereafter, my story was quite lucky. I got onto the Billboard charts. So I became like the first Chinese to get into the Billboard charts. So, but then the whole process took me away from acting.
Right.
I couldn't do any acting as I was like touring. I was like, doing a lot of music related, recording albums and stuff like that. I couldn't do any acting related stuff. So for a long time, I was like, oh, when can I go back and do that? I actually did not have a chance to do this acting, which was what I initially wanted to do for like 10 years almost, because ever since I got into the charts, then I got invited to sing at the Olympics in China, in Beijing. So I went to Asia. So I was like, oh, I really love it. I really like it. I feel like being Asian, I should go back to, where I'm from,
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry when you say that. Well, a part of where you're from, because you're also from here. But
Yes.
I know, I just didn't want the people go back from where you're from. No,
Oh, yeah.
But I get. No, I think it's always good when you are multicultural.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you exist in one place. It's just
Right.
you're
Right.
a global citizen.
Global, correct. Global citizen. Thank you for saying that. So I feel like, at that time I was singing there. So I was like, oh, maybe I should spend a little bit of time there, do some, because I got invited to do some work also. But at the time also, it was like, I was living here. Majority, all my families are here. Everybody, my career, everything is here. And I was invited to go back, but just on my own. I had no families there. Right. So, so at one point I was like, oh, why am I going there? I've just done the music stuff here. I've just, families, everything is here. Why am I going there? So but I also trusted the process, because I feel like that's where life is telling me to go. Right. Because at the time, I wanted to become an actor. If I had forced it and stayed and do acting, I'm not saying that that's not good to do, but I feel like, I was given an opportunity. Yeah, I was offered an opportunity to be a singer, to be signed into the record label. Right. So I took that opportunity, even though it's straight away from where I wanted to go.
Sure.
So, and even though, after I'm on the Billboard charts, I should be in America, but I feel like, life is kind of like telling me to go in that direction, to go to a different country and explore, because I can also speak Mandarin and Cantonese. So I feel like I should explore. So I literally pack up my suitcase and just go, and trusted the process, thinking that it will be okay. But I remember at the time when I was going, I was like, it feels like the right thing to do, because it feels like that's going with the flow. Because at the time in America, I had some issues with my record label, not with my record label, with my management. Mm-hmm. So there were some things going on, so I had to deal with a lot of things. So I feel like, okay, that might be like a change of scene,
right?
Maybe explore something, like as you said, global citizen, you explore, you go to different parts of the world and explore, and I wanted to do that, so I feel like that was, but I remember when I was holding the suitcase leaving LAX, I was like bawling. I was like, because I sort of knew that, I would be spending a lot of time on my own in another country for a while.
Right.
So I knew that. I was like, oh, no, I won't be able to see my family for a while. But still, I went and go. But I trusted the process, hoping that things will be okay. But, So of course there's a lot of ups and downs, over there, but still I feel like I trusted the process, just like let it go, because a lot of things is about letting go, you know what I mean?
Because you can't control everything.
I can't control everything, because even with like, not just like the entertainment career, with everything, there's a lot of things that you can't control. But for me, because I'm a Virgo, if you know Virgos, like we try to control things, but a lot of things like we cannot control, you know what I mean? So a lot of times it's about, you have to also let go.
Right.
Let go, and just like, so with letting go, so you feel more calm, because for me, I'm like, you can already tell, I rush things. I don't have that much patience,
Right.
I want to rush things. I wanted things to hurry, get to where I need to be at. I want to get to my goals like as soon as possible. But that's not, life doesn't let you do that.
Right.
You just have to trust and let go. And so with that, you learn to like be calm, and learn to have more patience and everything. I think that's very important.
Yeah, it's the different frequencies that we resonate at different times. Like, I know there's moments where I'm like all a ball of energy, and like you said, it's go, go, go. And then there's just the times when I'm like, okay, now my frequency is going to be a little bit lower. But like, just in general, I can completely understand everything that you're saying. It's so true. So that was in 2009, right? That you took your backpack and crying and left, and you're still there. You've been going back and forth ever since.
Yeah.
Tell us how. So I am going to ask this question because when we bring on women of diversity and our multicultural backgrounds, I have to ask, what has been the impact for you personally over the pandemic, when you had a lot of Asian hate?
Yes.
Yes. Anti-Asian type of rhetoric. Did you experience anything? And, if so, how did that impact you?
I did. Actually, I as an Asian American, like, because like, especially in this industry, like, especially when I was starting singing, I started singing out. My first album was in 2005. At that time, there weren't that many Asians around at that there, because now we have a lot of multi-diversity TV programs, films, like Crazy Rich Asians. Like, we have different like empires. We have all these kind of different shows right now. But at that time, there weren't that many. So growing up, I've always feel like, there's some sort of discrimination. But, I'm like, just, this is still what I wanted to do. So I like, just like, like hold it all in, like, still suck it up and like, just do everything. But, like as you said, there's like, a lot of Asian hate. So that's why I even experienced it myself a few times, because, during when the pandemic first started, it was during when we were shooting our
Card Counter.
Card Counter.
Right, in Mississippi, right?
We were in Mississippi.
Yep.
And we were in Mississippi. I flew all the way there. And then I remember it was in the beginning when we first started,
Right. March 2020.
Yes. So we got there, and then I was supposed to film, and then they said, all of a sudden they said, oh no, everything, all the production has to stop filming because someone caught COVID.
Right.
So the whole production has to stop, and then we had to go back to the U.S., and then we had to come back again. But I remember, like, when I was leaving Mississippi, I tried to call a Uber. And then as soon as, I got in, at that time it was first started. And then, like, seeing my look, apparently I look Asian,
Right. Apparently you look
yeah,
Asian.
apparently. So he immediately want to throw me out of the car. Yeah, and I was like, he made up some excuse, I can't take you or something. I was like, wait a minute, why can't you take me? And then I was like, why can't you? There's he just don't want me to be in the car. He felt like, I might pass on something to him or something, so, and then so
which is wild to me. And I have to interrupt you because I know, even though I wasn't there, because I made my husband go in a hazmat suit, that like he gets there and he's like, nobody here is acting like COVID is real. Right? So it's funny that there's like, COVID's not real, but hey, you look Asian, so don't get in my Uber. That seems a bit contradicting, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, to that person, you might want to work on that. But anyways, please continue.
Yeah. So I was like, why couldn't you? Because and then after I knew that he really don't want to be in there. So, but I'm rushing to the airport. What am I gonna do? So, but in the end, he really threw me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, he took you and then like threw you out of the car, like, or like kind of got rushed to get you out of the car.
Yeah, sort of. And then but there's this like I said, like there's with this
the energy.
Yeah, it was the energy. You can feel that you really and sort of this whole time. I think it was hard for us to even get out of Hong Kong right now. The reason why I'm here also is because we have a lockdown,
right.
And then But anyways, back to what we were saying. Like throughout this whole time, I feel that this Asian hate has gotten worse. So I am actually starting wanting to promote, because get a few of the, not a few, like get a lot of Asian artists together. We're trying to, like, maybe do a song or something, because I'm also shooting also a docu-series, which is to promote Asian culture.
Right.
We're doing it, filming majority of it is going to be in Hong Kong, but we wanted to promote Asian culture, for the global audience, So we might, I might get together, because I'm also producing the show, I'm starring in it as well. So we're trying to get some, a bunch of, like, Asian American artists, so we can either do a song or do like a short movie or something, for the audience here and also in Hong Kong as well. Or I mean, not just in Hong Kong, in Asia in general. Yeah.
Right. Well, and also back to even the Venice Film Festival, because that was in September. And, I'm so familiar with what happened with Card Counter, because I had to listen to my husband and everything that happened. Like, he was the one who had to deal with a lot of that fallout, him and the main producer. So I know. But that's why I remember I thought it was such a beautiful thing that you were at Venice, because it wasn't just, like, you needed to be there. Everyone needs to be there. Everyone needs to feel that they are seen and that they are appreciated and that they bring value. And you do, no matter where you come from, you quote on, because I come from planet Earth. I don't know about you,
Me too.
Good, nice to meet you, fellow Earthling, Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine how hurtful it must be that because of your outward appearance, people would treat you a certain way and give you this feeling of being unwelcome.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially
when Southern
a
hospitality is such a thing.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel, though? I mean, was that your only experience? Because I know most of the time you were actually, like, there was a lot.
There was a lot of experiences. Yeah. It's just, and even like, even I feel like, being like, because Cannes is also coming up,
right, I'll be there.
And then a lot of like, a lot of the festivals, like, whenever I feel like, whenever we go to like a big international events or festivals, I would have to say we're very poorly represented. Meaning, like, also, like, not just like there isn't that many Asians going. Right. In general, like, like there isn't, there would be a lot of other different, other ethnicities, but, Asians, there are very, 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 very few. So it's, whenever we go, I feel like, because I do tend to attend a lot of this stuff,
right.
for my, because I started, like, my singing career is here, my acting career is here right now, my producing more stuff here, so I go to a lot more of these events. We still feel like like we're not that welcome.
Sure.
So we're not that welcome. So I wanted to also for the next of course I'm trying to produce more movies here. Hopefully our next movies we can be in more festivals, but I want to also maybe start like a foundation to, like, promote Asian culture and things like that.
Yeah, it's very significant. What do you feel as a woman for the little girl, right? There's a little Asian girl out there, Asian American, she doesn't even wherever she is in the world, she looks at you and she's like, wow, that woman looks like me. For you, and I think, and I just have to add this because I love singing. What I love more about acting, though those talents both have these different effects and they bring different values to our word and how it exists. 'Cause music, I couldn't live without music, right? But acting, what I think does is allows storytelling to capture moments that need to be seen, to create empathy, to create understanding of one another. And so when you step into a role, it's like for example, one of my friends has been trying forever, Larry Namer, to make the first Empress, and it's been so hard, the challenges, but of the only Empress of China in history.
Right.
So how does it feel for you to step into that, and what do you say to the young girl looking up at someone like you?
Well, of course, when I see young girl or anybody who inspired to have, like, a entertainment career, all of that stuff, I will always say, like, it doesn't matter what what race you are, what ethnicity you are. You just kind of like, stick to what you believe. You could just kind of like have to hold on to it and really believe in yourself, and then take everything as you said. Like, it's a whole long experience. Like, it's a whole long process, like a whole lifelong process. Like, you have to trust in the process. Like, believe in yourself and never give up. I was gonna go back to the story. Like, I was after I got to Hong Kong, like I stayed there for 10 years. I was not just doing entertainment. I was doing a lot of business stuff, right?
Right.
And then so after I was doing a lot of business, I spent a lot of time doing business, and kind of like for me to go get back into entertainment, it was also like it was also another transition. It's kind of like tough, because then I'm also transitioning, besides doing business, and then transitioning singing to business back into producing and acting. So this whole process is also very tough. Ups and downs. There's a lot of things that you have to go through. And then so just. But for me, it's just I always have to remember, like, what my first goal is. My first goal was to be an actor. So no matter what, I have to go back this route.
Right.
I don't care where I'm at, what I'm doing, whatever. Of course, I was grateful for all the opportunities all along that I've had, that people has given me, or that I've created.
Yes, I was going to say, don't forget those ones.
Yes, or I've created, I created a lot of things,
Yeah.
I'm sure you are too, and I look at you, I see you create a lot of opportunities for yourself. But I'm very grateful for all these opportunities. But I just remember my original goal was to be an actor, be in film, like
Right.
film and TV,
Sure.
No matter what circle I've gone through, what I've already done, I still have to go back to this. And so I just have to, remember, hey, this is, and never give up. And just like, you just have to always trust in the process, that it will lead you somewhere, and lead you somewhere greater than you can ever imagine. Because I never had thought that when I was in UCLA studying, I never knew that I could be lucky enough to attend the Grammys, to go to the Oscars, to go to the film festival, to produce movies alongside with all these great actors, producers, directors. I never knew that, but trust in the process. It would take you to places that you can not even imagine. I think for all, I always just tell everybody, just, have to trust in yourself.
Right. And
Yeah.
especially, so let me ask, when you do hit those road bumps and you do have a moment where there's maybe some self-doubt or any negative, what's the arsenal you open up to kind of keep you moving forwards? What are the tools you used to overcome those things that are natural, right? We all have negative self-talk. Like, I have it from time to time, and I have to like bat that gnat out of the way as quickly as possible. But like, how do you handle those challenges?
I would, because normally, like I said, like, you can already tell, like, I'm not a very patient person. I rush things. So, now I just like kind of like meditation kind of helps me a little bit, like meditation. I do yoga, even though I love to run around and do all kinds of things. I need to do things that calm me down. So like, cause so that I can calm down. I can, just think, and then when I have negative thoughts, good thing. And I'm quite like, sometimes I would just like, cry.
Right.
Or like just tell, after I talk to people, after I feel like I kind of like, just vent it out, and then just kind of like regather, a lot of times I write up, like, I will have a notebook again, you just kind of have to do it step by step. Like, let's say if you're in like a very bad situation or something, I would just, little by little, you just like each day you just get, what do you need to do to kind of like, just think of like the positive things, and vision, the good outcomes, and write down little by little the small steps that you have to take. Write it down to get out of that bad situation, to go get back on your right track, or just, sometimes, or maybe just, I think, sometimes I just think too much. I just think, okay, it has to go like this way, right? I want it to go this way. But sometimes, honestly, like, instead of worrying about it and whatever, I just do something else. Maybe just pack up my bag and go for a vacation or something. When you come back, some things got straightened out by itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Sometimes I always feel like, oh, I want things to go this way, so I'm forcing it to go this way. But, sometimes when you just let go,
Right.
hey, maybe it sorted itself out. You get a phone call like, hey, some good news, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't think, okay, because I feel like sometimes before when I was, I always force things. Like, for example, I want it to go this way,
Right.
I will force it. I will do whatever I can to make it go this way. And, and I realized, hey, yeah, I did whatever I can to do stupid things to make it go this way. And then like, it turned out it was not what you think. It was not. So I try to like not force things. I just kind of like got to go with the flow, right?
Exactly. Be in a state of flow. I 100% agree with you, because I think that's a lot of people don't understand. You try to force something, and sometimes that's the universe. Like, hey, don't go this way.
Yeah.
We don't want this for you. You may think you want it, but you probably don't. And so, but letting go, like when things happen, like I always have that saying, I don't worry about what falls out of the back of the truck, right? Like I keep it moving, keep it moving forward, focus on solutions, not the problems, right? So that you can stay. And when you anticipate that things may not always go in your favor, and you divorce yourself from the idea that it's got to go that way,
yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
It changes.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, kind of shift a little bit, because on the topic of Asian culture, what are some of the things that make you excited? Like, what does the world not know? Like I shared about alhamdulillah and these things that I don't think people understand. They're very integral to the culture. They're very beneficial to humanity. What do you see when it comes to the Asian culture that the world is missing out on by actually kind of creating, to anybody who is experiencing Asian hate, like what it's like sometimes I have this feeling like I want to show you how beautiful it is. You're missing this. You don't understand it. So is there anything about Asian culture that you can share with us that like really reminds you of how beautiful it is to be part of your culture?
Yeah, I think, of course, like, I'm Chinese, Asian has a lot of different,
right.
like, different, but for us being, I guess like Chinese, which I feel like we're experiencing a lot of, hatred, but I think Chinese in a way, we're like very diligent, and we're like very thankful in general. Like, cause every day we have different ways to say thank you.
Right.
You know what I mean? 多謝, like you just like we try to be grateful, and so I guess, it's also, I remind myself, honestly, like this is a great topic because, just have to remind yourself to be grateful every day, because I have water to, I have food, I have like, fresh air to breathe, roof on my head, I should be grateful every day. But, Chinese, culture in a way, they appreciate things a little bit more because I guess, a lot of people are not as privileged, as people, here or in other places, they're less privileged. So even, they don't like a lot of wastage stuff, they're more, because of course people aren't as privileged, so of course they tend to like, appreciate things a little bit more. And so that's why when I'm always every day, I just need to remind myself I need to appreciate everything,
Sure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing about your culture. I say that because a lot of times, people are misunderstood. And yes, I said Asian very broadly, Middle Eastern very broadly, even though my family is like more Arab, but like, yes, there's a lot. And right. There's so many beautiful things that people don't understand, and if I went to China, like I know my husband did a tour of China, and he said it was wonderful, and the people, there's sometimes this perception of the communist, and obviously there is some truth to like the control and aspect, but do you think that that's to preserve what is good about Chinese culture and I'm going to be honest, anybody who wants to, I got to say this, anybody who wants to criticize communist behavior might want to be reminded that they're looking at taking away women's rights here in United for Roe v. Wade, so like if we're criticizing cultures that are very controlling and determine what is best and what is not for their public, and that's an issue, I think it's ironic. They say don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. That's the saying here. I feel like that happens. So the reason I'm saying that is so many people want to be vicious and negative towards a culture they don't understand. Yeah. Right? Throw judgment and treat people a certain way. And ironically enough, I firmly believe that what divides us is an illusion. So so now kind of moving into gender bias. in Asian culture, as a woman, are you expected to grow up, have kids, and like, you know, I mean, how, you know what I'm saying? Generally, you're there's a lot of assumptions
I know
about what we want out of life.
I
like,
know.
yeah,
This is so funny because I'm back here this time for my sister's wedding. I have a younger sister, and you know, for Chinese women, I feel like sometimes, like, you know, my family pressure me so much this time. They made me feel like I have a problem myself for being single.
right.
And I'm like, what? I just, you know, what is, I don't know. Like they make, like they're all like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just, you know, I don't think that, you know, getting married, have kids is the ultimate goal for every woman, you know?
Right.
And I also tell them, don't make me feel like there's a problem with me. Because
Right.
you all ask me, like, they literally ask me, what's your problem? What's wrong with you in Chinese, okay?
Right.
And I'm like, hey, I just, you know, it may be like I said, trust in the process. The timing will come for you when it's the right time. This is not the right timing for me yet. I still want to, you know, it's not, I know that, you know, I believe in fate a lot,
Sure.
you know. I believe in certain things, and, you know, when it's the right timing, it will come. I guess right now it's not time for me yet, you know.
Yeah.
I believe, you know, honestly, I believe that I will eventually have kids. Eventually I will get married. And I believe, you know, God or whoever will give me the right person and at the right time, you know. So I'm just taking my time. I'm like, they're like, why are you not even rushing? Everybody's is your sister's married and you have a problem.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have a problem. Okay. Like, you know, so and also this also goes along with the gender inequality, I guess. Like, you know, like even I guess in America, we face already less. Gender inequality in Asia is even worse.
Right.
Still.
Right.
You know, in the workplace or everywhere, you know, I'm very happy to be living in America. This is already very, you know, we're already very lucky in Asia. Even I'm from Hong Kong. You know, Hong Kong is already more liberal than China or other places, you know. Oh, still, like, you know, the gender inequality is still, you know,
A
like,
real thing.
quite real, even in workplace and everything, you know.
Do you feel you're able to use your position to shift that needle and be a representative? Like, I can understand the family pressures. We see it a lot in all of our, like, very traditional cultures. Get married.
Yeah.
If you're a certain age and you're not, you're like this old maid. And I agree with
Yeah.
you. It's like they just want you to settle to conform to some idea that you're supposed to be married and having kids, and that you shouldn't be traipsing off all over the world having a great time and living the best life. Like, what would that doesn't seem right. I think that I tell you, people, misery loves company, and I'm a mother of four, and I love them dearly. But to any person who's like, I'm not gonna get married and have kids till I'm ready, I'm like, do that, because it's true. You know, I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to do it unless it was their time and it was a right partnership for them, and all of their needs are being met, right?
Yeah.
Especially so that you can pursue what you want.
Yeah.
Because if a guy can go out there and be the CEO and still get married and have kids, why can't we?
See,
Sorry, having a
that's
love
the
affair
thing,
with my
right?
mic
You know,
now.
like that's the thing, right? You know, the guys, you know, like, well, for me, because, you know, for women, if I want to have kids, you know, so we have some sort of time limit, you know. So I'm like in the process of freezing eggs at this, you know, now, because I sort of have to, you know, because, you know, you want to preserve your eggs or whatever, right? But like, you know, and also it's just like, you know, now that I'm experienced all this, you know, I guess like this pressure with my family and friends, you know, and my relatives, I want to, that makes me even want to speak up more for, like, you know, for like, you know, like I said, gender inequality, Asian rights, you know, like, or like, no, like anti-Asian hate and all of that stuff, you know. Because I feel like, you know, I get a lot of, you know, these, so that's why it makes me even want to, you know, do more things like that, like,
Sure.
for
To shift the needle.
shift, because if somebody needs to do it, you
Right.
know, somebody
Right.
needs to do it. And, you know, if I'm in this place where I can always be in US, you know, be in the US and in Asia, I think I need to do something, you know, about it. Now this time I come back, I'm gonna, you know, especially for when we shoot the docuseries promoting Asian culture, I want to include a lot of these, you know, things in there as well. This is something that needs to be mentioned, because I feel like, you know, I'm being pressured and squashed saying because I'm single and not married and have kids, you know.
Doing the stereotype thing.
Yeah,
with the expected traditional route, the traditional route. I mean, some of us are non-traditional, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We are beautiful souls in the world. I have another question for you. What is there, when it comes to acting and getting into certain roles and stuff, is there things that you draw on to tap into certain emotions and to, you know, like when you speak on what you love about being an actor and becoming this different person, especially if it's something you've never experienced, right? You know, what's your process look like to actually get into that role, or what, you know, as you developed your acting career more?
I think, like I explained a little bit, it's like living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So, you know, this is a Meisner technique that I learned, you know, from my acting. You know, I use this technique, you know. So it's just like, you know, you just, like, for example, when I'm talking to you, you just live truthfully, but you react as if, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you live as that person. So you react whatever. So you just react to whatever when I'm this person, you just react to that situation. So naturally, then the emotions will come for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will come just natural. Like I know that some people they always try to think a very traumatic. Situation or something, but for me, it's just kind of like, you know, just when I put myself in that shoe of that, you know, and live truthfully, then the natural emotions will come. I will naturally get affected myself, you know. I will naturally get touched. I would naturally feel angry. I would naturally when I put myself in that situation.
Amazing. Well, I mean, it's incredible to sit here and watch you grow and watch you do and hear about, you know, all the ambitious things you're doing in the future. You know, what's the vision for you in the future? What's the current vision you're casting, you know, outside of the shows overall? You know, you have this business entertainment. Do you fancy yourself a media mogul in the future as well?
I honestly, you know, right now I want to go back to, like I always say, go back to where I started. I want to do film and TV now, because for the past 15 years I was straight away. I'm like I said, very grateful. I was doing singing, I was doing business, you know, but I learned so much from all of these experiences, you know, being, you know, on the billboards, touring, you know, making albums, you know, being, you know, doing a lot of advertisings, you know, doing business, you know, clubs and bars, you know, a lot of, you know, fashion business and all that stuff. I learned so much, and I'm very grateful, because without all this experience, I wouldn't be who I am right now.
They've shaped you.
Yeah, it shaped me, you know. So I was a lot stronger. I know how to handle a lot of more different things, you know. So now I wanted to step in more into producing and acting for film and TV more so, you know, for the global audience, you know, not just Asia, you know, for the global audience, you know. I feel like, you know, there are a lot of things, like you said. That's why we appreciate you when you say all this, you know. Like that's why, you know, we are global citizens, right? You know, like a lot of things in Asia can be brought to the U.S. as well, you know, and, you know, we can learn a lot from the U.S., of course, you know, but a lot of things we can bring from, you know, different cultures, you know, show different cultures and things like that. I wanted to do more of this, you know, and of course, you know, I want to make some business into it, you know. Yeah, a lot of, you know, there's a lot of cool concepts, you know, dining, you know, clubs, you know, even for restaurants, bars, I want to bring into the U.S. as well. Like, you know, some cool, you know, Asian food, you know, or, you know, sushi, omakase, you know.
She just said my favorite word, sushi.
Yeah, sushi, like, you know, cocktails, a lot of, you know, interesting fusion food and cuisines that I want to bring into America.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think the main thing I want to do is to, you know, do more shows that are more Asian, they're more Asian diverse in America, you know, as well, to promote this culture.
Amazing. I love that. I can't wait to see you continue to do it. Okay, I have a couple quick questions. They are our rapid fire questions. Excuse me. It's only 5. They'll be quick. Actually, one of them you kind of already did, but I'm gonna make you do it again just because it's fun, because I felt it was very representative. So, only thing I ask, answer it as honestly as you can.
Okay.
First celebrity crush.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. She said sorry. Leo, we're not sorry.
No,
okay, she's not
we're
sorry.
I want to say Justin Bieber as well. But
Celebrity. Okay. Would you want to live forever?
yes.
Yes. You know, it's funny. I would too. Say something in an Asian language.
Ngongole. I love you.
Oh, okay. I was worried she cussed me out. Okay.
No.
What's your favorite carb? Bread, pasta, rice, or potatoes?
Pasta for sure.
I love it. Do you like the smell of gasoline?
No. No.
See, I'm the weirdo then, okay? I don't know. I'm one of those people. When I saw that question, I was like, that's so funny because
You know what I like to smell? I like to smell magazines.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I don't know what.
You know, the fresh print.
Magazines,
Yeah, no, that makes
yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Okay, well, you know, just for our listening audience, where can they support you? Where can they find you on your social media and things like that? Stay connected.
Yeah, Instagram for sure. I need to Facebook and yeah.
And go ahead and spell it for our listening audience.
And then ADRIENNE_LAU.
Perfect. All right. Well, we look forward to having you back again in the future. Next project, more movies we're going to do together. Hopefully, God willing. And inshallah, as I say. And thank you for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy that I got to come. To tell everybody, this is my first podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. First podcast because we don't have a podcast in Asia. So
yeah.
It's my first experience. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm glad we were able to, pop your cherry on that one. And hopefully it wasn't too painful of an experience.
No, it's great. I'm so happy.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Okay? And to everyone at home, oh my goodness, we had such an amazing conversation. I hope you love her as much as I do. If you want to support 501c3, don't forget www.unsugarcoatedmedia.com, and you can check out shop, get our unisex hoodie, Live Empowered. And when you wear it every day, you can be reminded that you need to be living life empowered, my friends. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you next episode. Thank you so much for letting us be unsugarcoated. Bye.